Larry, I don't know where you stand on this issue, so maybe we should ask you about Lisa Cook and the Fed. It's a dealer's choice. You could talk about that, or you could talk about what Jerome Powell's going to say at the meeting, or you could talk about this whole replacement Fed chair search, because usually you bring us good dirt on that. Dealer's choice. Larry.
I'm just going to say, all right, so I've said what I've said about Lisa Cook. The center of gravity at the Fed has changed. With the appointment of Steve Myron, CEA chair, on the Fed, you have 3 Trump appointees. Effectively, in my view, Jay Powell's the lame duck. Now, I'll see how he handles this Lisa Cook scandal, because it's going to be very important. But nonetheless, I believe he's the lame duck. Center of gravity has completely changed. They will move to cut interest rates in September by a quarter. They should do a half. We'll see. I mean, I don't know about that. The other point is, I know that Scott Bessent keeps saying he's interviewing all these people after Labor Day. The trouble is, the president keeps saying he has only a couple people in mind, and it's going to happen soon. So those 2 guys might want to get their act together. My own personal view is that there are 2 leading candidates, as we've discussed before, Kevin Hassett and Kevin Warsh. They're both brilliant, brilliant people. They happen to be personal friends of mine. I'm not picking. They're both brilliant people. But one thing that Bessent said, I want to remind, the Fed needs a top-to-bottom audit. When he first said that, he talked about non-monetary policy. I want a top-to-bottom audit for everything, including monetary policy, regulatory policy, how they run their own operation, which is increasingly a scandal, a 300% increase in recent years. They're losing $100 million a year because of the mismatch of their assets and liabilities. They got a bond portfolio that's underwater. They're not giving money into the Treasury anymore, so it's costing the taxpayers a lot of money. I mean, the whole thing's a scandal.
They got a Taj Mahal in the mall.
That's right. They got the Taj, exactly. I mean, the mismanagement of the central bank under Jay Powell, who has been there nearly 8 years, is extraordinary.
Well, and interestingly, Americans' expectations of inflation are actually going up. That August number show that Americans are expecting higher prices. And yes, they've come down dramatically since the Biden era, but inflation is still cooking along. I think it's why so many Americans are having trouble. We're seeing those credit card debts, bills continue to pile up. They're feeling the heat of inflation, albeit at a lower rate.
Jackie, I want you to get in.
I just want to go back to Lisa Cook and finish where they left off.
Hammer down.
Because my understanding of what happened here is she's alleged to have declared primary residences in different states to get more favorable mortgage terms. Not only would that be potentially mortgage fraud, but there are tax implications there, too, where you declare your primary residence, where you're paying taxes. There could be certain advantages. I believe the states that we're talking about are Michigan and Georgia. So now we're going to add her to the list. Tish James, they're looking into. I would call him Adam Schiff, but you insist I say pencil neck, so I will. Also, another situation there where the Post is reporting that he's accused of wire fraud, mail fraud, bank fraud, and making these false statements to financial institutions. So the Democrats that sit out there and pretend that they are holier than thou and they persecuted President Trump and they went after him, you know, to the degree that was completely unimaginable, these investigations should all continue. If these people have done what they are, you know, allegedly accused of, they should be put in jail. And a suspension certainly is warranted in the case of Lisa Cook while that investigation is pending. If he does not do this, I mean, his reputation, Dagan, we've said is already completely tarnished, but this is just beyond the pale.
Dagan, maybe Lisa Cook just feels very at home in both Michigan and Georgia, and that's why they're both primary residents.
You can't feel at home in 2 places, according to the IRS.
How hard is it if you're filling out a mortgage application
it's not,
and they ask you, is this your primary? How hard is it, Dagan, to answer that?
I just went through this last year. It is not an accident.
I just went through it. Saintly wife just did. We just did the numbers for our own. They asked you a question and you put down the truth.
People,
yes or no?
No, they don't put down the truth. They say it's a primary when it's not a primary, or it's a primary, allegedly in the case of Adam Schiff. Maryland was his primary residence, but he was a representative from California. However, it's not an accident, because when you put down primary, you know what you get? you get a lower down payment and you get a lower interest rate because it is wrapped in that delicious wrapper of Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac.
What about tax? What about tax
And that's on the back.
What about tax?
But I want to make the point
about tax
that is on the back of every American. They are ripping off every American, and they're not playing by the rules that regular folks would be prosecuted for. And according to the Wall Street Journal, Pam Bondi, our fabulous Attorney General, not only has she authorized Ed Martin, head of this working group tasked with reviewing the cases.
He went to visit one of the residences in Brooklyn. To use grand juries in Virginia and Maryland to probe allegations of mortgage fraud involving Schiff. I was almost going to mispronounce that. And Tish James. Grand juries. I got the FBI director, Kash Patel, coming on the show today.
You know what, Larry? I was just going to say that.
Sorry, I want to because isn't the FBI the ones that investigate this stuff?
Yeah.
Huh?
Well.
Larry stole this, but I'm going to say it again. Don't miss Larry's show today. He will have the aforementioned FBI director, Kash Patel, joining him at 4 p.m. Eastern.